Okay, so I was doing a little bit of film study here on my new favorite golfer out on the golf course. And a couple things here. So this was a video that I took the other day at the range with you, and some things that I see right away. I really like your posture and your setup. You've got a good knee flex. Your back is nice and straight. Your chin is up. You've moved a little bit closer to the ball since this point in time, and I think that's a good thing. So really, really good setup. Maybe just a little bit closer to the ball, but otherwise I like where we're going with this. So just kind of moving this in slow motion. First thing I want you to watch here as we start to move is let's zone in right here. And let's just take a look at what happens here on the takeaway. So as we pull away, your wrist immediately, if you take a look here, your wrist immediately is breaking. And so that's going to make it a little bit more challenging. We want to have those hands go straight away for the first couple of feet as that club's going back. But that said, your head's really still. So I think that's good. As we come to the backswing though, even though you took it away that way, I think you do a really nice job of getting it over your shoulder. Okay, could be a little bit more vertical, but when you get back in this position, and you take a look here, that's a good look. Your wrist here is really nice and flat. I love that. That's really, really good. So you're really set up to make a really, really good golf swing. So as you come down through the ball though, just a couple other things to notice here. I want you to watch how this club bends because you're getting a good lag. So as you come back, that club's there. And then as you start to turn, that club's really bent as you start to pull with your shoulder. So I think that's good. Where I think maybe you start to lose this, if you look at your hips are turning well. So that's going well. But as that club comes down and it gets to this position here, you have to start squaring that club up. And if you take a look at your hands, and how they're working right now, when they're coming down, your right hand that doesn't have the glove, you look at how open that is, like palm is basically facing up. And so you're not making any attempt, and we can work through this, but to kind of roll your wrists down toward the ball, which is gonna help to close this club face, which if you take a look at the club face right now, it's kind of going on this line. And we probably more likely want this to be, more like this if we can at that stage. And you do that by closing these wrists down. Ooh. So, so I think a lot of really good things here. See if I can pull this back. Yes. A lot of good things here if we can close those wrists down and start coming toward the ball. But the other thing that I want you to notice is we talked about the hip turn. This is a good hip turn. You're good and open here. Here you're coming down. You're starting to open your hips. You can see by the time you get to contact, your hips are really faced out on a 45, which is good. But what I want you to focus on and what we have to work on is this right here, your back foot. So if you look at that back foot, it never actually turns until right at the end. So your momentum and your weight transfer is ultimately not going to your front leg or the front of your body. And so that's something we can talk about and we can work on. But, you see that back foot just stays totally planted, never releases, which means your weight is still kind of back on your right foot, hasn't transferred to your front foot, which means you're not going to be able to drive through the ball. So ultimately you end up missing it. You end up hitting the turf, but there actually were really a lot of good things that go along with this swing. I think a little closer to the ball, a little more of a hip turn, a drive off of that back foot and transferring your weight. And then if we turn that club down a little bit as you're coming down, it's going to be a great swing. That's my review for today. You're doing great. I'm so proud of you, and I love watching you golf.